Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I guess I'm a sissy liberal American.
And I am Ken Shamrock.
Welcome to episode 249. WWF RAW is War.
War.
Cue the pyro.
Boop, 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 boop. Explosions. People walking around, stomping.
A parking lot, or
Fire.
a parking garage. You can tell it's shot in a parking
Got us
garage.
a Titantron.
Yeah.
Got us a pyro. This whole stage and the ramp.
See,
I
this
know.
is the Raw I remember.
I mean, same, and I didn't start watching probably until 98.
Complete with like the siren at the beginning and
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, probably the end of 98 is when I started watching. So, but it was, the same vibe.
Yep,
That
I mean,
big
I've been
Titantron set.
watching since the start, but yeah, this one, even when the episode started, it was like, this just has a different feel to it. It's like I'm watching a different show, even though it's Raw.
It's almost like the set that would have worked better for the show, the NWO show that WCW did, instead of the weird, goofy set they made.
Like anything would have worked better than that set.
Yeah, absolutely. 'Cause that set was really stupid, but they were trying to go for like cool, and this one is cool because it's like simple and like to the point and kind of rugged looking.
Yeah, the only thing cool about that set was just the voiceover guy with his whole loser. Loser. Wow, we went all the way back to the NWO show.
I mean, unfortunately, it's hard to forget.
That's going to be like frayed in the brain for like forever.
Absolutely.
So this is the 204th episode of Raw, produced by WWF. It would take place on April 7th, 1997, from the Worthern Arena in Muncie, Indiana, with an attendance of 3,353 people and a TV rating of 2.2, which, to give a comparison, Nitro got a 3.7 that week.
Yeah, and you know which show we're not watching? Nitro.
That's true. We're not going to watch Nitro from this week.
No, we're not. We can't watch them all, guys. Anytime I see Muncie, I just think of Hudsucker Proxy. You seen that, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's actually one of my favorite
Coen Brothers?
Coen Brother movies.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, I'm a Muncie boy. Is that what he says? Or she's a Muncie girl? Either way.
I'm sure a lot of people see Muncie and get it mistaken with Pawnee from Parks and Rec.
I do love me some Parks and Rec. I almost took a play off of them today with my whole culinary adventure.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, but it was too hard to recreate.
Speaking of your culinary adventure around the world, we're in Muncie, Indiana. So, did you do what you do?
I kind of did, but
What am I drinking?
It kind of does what it does on its own.
I think it's cranberry juice and Jägermeister.
I mean, you're half right.
It tastes like Red Bull.
There we go.
Okay.
There's the other half. Yeah, originally I was going to go for... There's that episode of Parks and Rec where they go to the St. Elmo's Steakhouse, and one of the dishes from Indiana is the shrimp cocktail, and that's, I guess, the best shrimp cocktail in the country that you can get is from this St. Elmo's, but I was not able to recreate it. I was going to go to my friends
where I would
over
think
it.
the best shrimp cocktail would be is Indiana.
Yeah,
It's
because
for real.
It's because of the sauce.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
I was going to go to my
They're still
friends
using
over at Red
frozen
Prime,
shrimp.
but they were not open at the time, so had to go another route. I figured it's Raw. We got this rocket entrance. It feels like the Raw that I watched during the college days, and alcohol.
Yeah, get his juice for recording.
College.
A little bit of booze and caffeine.
I went to
Like it's right up.
went to the old Googleverse and typed in popular drinks in Indiana, and I came upon this list from spoonuniversity.com. It's the unofficial cocktails of each 50 states. And for Indiana, they had as we've already mentioned, a little Red Bull, a little Jaeger, otherwise known as a Jaeger bomb. Jägermeister is one of the most purchased alcohols in Indiana, so you can't go wrong with the Jaeger bomb. These shots are fun to take, but don't drink too many of them. Take it from the Hoosiers, and not just the Indiana University students who have mastered the art of Jaeger bombs.
I feel like Jaeger had a moment quite a while ago, but I can't think of anybody drinking Jaeger.
Oh, it's still one of my guilty pleasures.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I have 2 Jaeger shot glasses that came with a bottle of Jaeger that I bought. That
around the holidays.
Permanent residency in my freezer. When we went on our GM trip, me and my old GM, it was kind of a all-the-time ritual while we were on this trip that anytime one of us said it, we had to take a shot. So we drank many of them. I haven't had a Jaeger bomb in forever, though, so I think I'm the only one left. But
yeah, I know. I sucked mine down. Clink.
And clink. And, I mean, it's a shot, right? So, here we go.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I didn't even think about it.
Why not?
I thought it was just a drink. I was like, why is there no ice in it?
Yeah, I used up just the rest of the Jaeger, or not the Jaeger, the rest of the Red Bull in it, so there's more Red Bull than there should be. But here we go.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's a big shot, but it worked.
Whenever I see Jaeger, I think of Pantera. It's the official drink of Pantera,
Okay.
for sure. Those guys loved that shit.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to drink with Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not much of a Red Bull fan, but if I do drink Red Bull, it has to have alcohol in it.
Unless you have put Red Bull in something else that we have done in the past, this is my first Red Bull.
This is the second, because I was thinking of that because I couldn't remember if I had done the Jaeger bombs before. We did the Vegas bombs, and they also have Jaeger in them. So.
Okay.
I said Red Bull.
All right.
The Red Bull.
Sorry, I think that's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I got to double check just to make sure my brain isn't processing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Vegas bomb. Boo, 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 boo.
No, it was the bunny. The blue dust bunny that had Red Bull in it.
Before we get to what happened this week, I know we already did our Christmas episode, but I got you guys something. It's closer to Christmas when we're recording this. It's the same thing, but when
So nicely wrapped.
yeah, I was like, I don't know why I bothered wrapping it, but I just
Takes
wrapped
all the joys
all
I
of my Christmas other Christmas gifts.
Awesome.
That's fucking awesome.
The Bret Hart Simpsons edition collectible action figure.
I know. I've had my eye on them for quite a while, and I found somebody selling like a lot of 3 of them on eBay. So I was like, I'll take
My
those.
nephew's gonna be jealous.
It's a 2014 NECA convention exclusive. That's hardcore right there.
Yeah, I mean that's why I was like, oh, I found them. I found a lot of 3 of them. I was like, all right, there we go. Because some people like to overcharge for them, but somebody was trying to get rid of 3 of them.
The Old Man and the Lisa. Air date April 20th, 1997.
But I figured, as far as wrestling action figures go,
Right around the same time as this episode.
Yep.
that's funny. I didn't even catch that. But yeah, I figured as far as wrestling action figures go, Bret Hart as a Simpsons character is about as unique as it gets.
That's awesome, man. Hell yeah.
But what I did have written down
Yeah. I just
for what happened this week.
Yes, exactly.
A couple of films would hit theaters in Anaconda and Gross Point Blank.
Hell yeah.
I haven't seen Gross Point Blank.
Dude. That actually
That's a
really
John
surprises me.
Cusack, right?
Yeah. John and Joan. And Minnie Driver. And Dan Aykroyd. Is he in this one?
See, I don't even know what the premise is. It's a comedy.
It's a comedy. He's a hitman.
He's a hitman that goes back to his high school reunion.
Okay, I knew it was a hitman thing.
It's
or
like,
I thought it was a hitman thing.
Get Shorty
but
was
like
popular. Romeo and Michelle was popular. So put them together, and you got Gross Point Blank.
Well, that
Yes,
sounds like
it was Dan Aykroyd.
Well, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
But Anaconda, I've seen a bunch of times.
I mean, there's one thing that I've kind of set a rule for movies and TV shows. If John Cusack is in that, I know it's going to be worth my time.
To a certain point in his career.
Even still.
So you're just a Cusack man.
I am.
Really?
I mean, I like him. I like John
From
Cusack.
16 Candles all the way to... I'm trying to think of the last thing I saw him in. It's been a while.
I don't know.
I mean, he's released a movie last year called Pursuit.
I did not see that one. He had the one...
I mean, he has made some...
He's made a lot of
He's
shit.
made some...
Stinkers
here. I've never even heard of some of these.
It's kind of a
in
shame.
the last few years. Like, the last one...
Has he gone the way of, like, Nick Cage or
Kind of.
what Bruce Willis, where they just started doing anything for $1 million?
I mean, the last mainstream movie he was in was Hot Tub Time Machine 2, which he was uncredited in.
I think I saw the first one. I don't know.
But then he was in Love and Mercy, which was the Beach Boys movie. That's probably the last one that
people saw.
Yeah. Let's see here.
It's like so many of these movies are probably like just straight to streaming, straight to DVD type movies.
I guess
That's why I was
are.
like, John Cusack to a point.
Yeah, Joan Cusack definitely.
Joan definitely as well.
Everything that she's been in. Yeah, he has.
But I feel like she's never really
recognize.
been like the lead of a movie though. She's just kind of a great character actor.
And that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
She's a multi-time Best Supporting Actress nominee for a reason.
Was one of them for Addams Family Values.
Yeah.
She's awesome in that movie.
One was for In and Out. One was for Broadcast News.
Yeah.
Working Girl.
Was it Working Girl?
Yeah, she's in Broadcast News. She has that great segment where she's like running through the office and all the obstacles.
On time.
What a good movie.
She did get a Saturn nomination for Addams Family Values.
That's like the sci-fi horror ones, right?
Correct. I mean, she's been nominated a bunch of times in different, like, by Film Critic for supporting actresses and different things.
She was amazing in Shameless until they just ran out of stuff for her character, and then...
I was a big fan of her in, is it Toy?
Yes, with Robin Williams, Toys.
Yeah. Toys.
Yeah.
It was like,
yeah.
Not just Toys.
Yeah, that was... If you've never seen that one, I think you'd really enjoy that one.
I've been told that many times. When I was a kid, it played on Comedy Central all the time, but I just changed the channel when it was on.
It's one of those just...
dark comedies.
Totally off the wall. What the hell were you smoking, drinking, snorting while you were making this, writing this? But it works.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's one of those, you throw Robin Williams and Joan Cusack together and you got magic. I can't remember who else was in it, but I can remember the cover box.
Oh, yeah, that cover was seared into my brain.
Alan Arkin is in this one still. Grosse Point Blank. Hank Azaria. Jeremy Piven.
Michael Gambon plays the bad guy in Toys.
Ah.
But yeah, Grosse Point Blank.
Grosse Point Blank. If you've never seen it, it's great. Yeah. It won some awards. It was nominated for some stuff.
I've been trying to do some like holiday movies that I haven't seen, but some of them I'm just like I don't have interest in. But I'm like I feel like I've seen all the classic comedy ones.
And then,
but Grosse Point Blank obviously is not a holiday film.
No. Anaconda.
Neither is Anaconda.
No. But it rules.
It does indeed do that.
See, I'm going to have to watch this one again because
it's so
I only
fun.
watched it when it first came out, and I thought, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
It takes everything seriously, but, yeah, I don't know. It's just good.
Because J-Lo's in this one, right?
Yeah,
J-Lo, Ice Cube, John Voight.
What was the...
That's what it was, John Voight.
What was the other one that came out that was the...
Lake Placid?
Thank you.
That's the alligator one, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't see I think Lake Placid was a little trashier than Anaconda, which is saying a lot, but I don't know because I haven't seen it. But Anaconda, because I was pretty young when this came out, and me and my friends just thought it was the greatest movie ever.
Owen Wilson, Eric Stoltz,
yeah.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah. I was crazy.
It a great cast in it.
Yeah.
And they're just like on a crummy boat, and there's a giant snake attacking them. It's a solid premise. It's probably like 90 minutes long, the exact length it should be.
My favorite part, though, is the voice of Anaconda. It's Frank Welker.
There's the voice for the Anaconda?
Frank Welker is credited as the voice of the Anaconda.
So he's making the snake sounds?
Yeah.
Who's you said Fred Welker?
Frank Welker.
Who's Frank Welker?
He basically did the voice for Optimus Prime in the cartoon. But then he did the voice of Megatron in the Michael Bay live action.
Okay.
That's what he's probably most known for. He's He's a huge
voice actor
that, like, literally, you name something, he's probably been a voice in it.
The animated series Optimus Prime, that's, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love me some Liam Neeson, but Frank Welker is Optimus Prime.
And Orson Welles is Omnicron, or whatever that thing is called from the animated movie, the planet Transformer.
Yeah, I only saw Anaconda when it very, very first came out. So I'll have to give it a watch again and see if I enjoy it more.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it had sequel or sequels.
I saw Anaconda 2 Hunt for the Blood Orchid at the Dollar Theater. It came out maybe 8 to 10 years after the first one. And I remember it not being very good or memorable. But the first one was a good time.
Too bad either. I don't know if I ever watched that one.
Like, both of them had good casts.
I had to look just to see, because I remember the name of it, but...
Yeah, I think Lake Placid was a couple years after.
Yeah.
When the heck did I see Anaconda last?
Been a long time for me, but it was one that I watched a lot when it hit videotape. I definitely didn't see it in the theater.
Well, enough about those films.
Yeah.
Let's talk some Raw is War. We get the WWF logo before highlights from a previous Raw, where we see Mankind crawling out from under a ring and throwing a fireball into the Undertaker's face.
Oh my god.
Before hugging Paul Bearer. The intro starts, and we get an abandoned warehouse with people running around, explosions going off, followed by superstars making their way through the chaos and into a ring of fire as highlights are projected onto the walls.
That's great.
It's so good. And it's like a metal riff now.
In the arena, multiple pyro explosions go off on the stage, and we have the Titantron. Before Vince McMahon welcomes us to the show, joined by Jim Ross and the Honky Tonk Man.
We've had too much Honky Tonk Man lately, man.
There's a whole lot of honky going on.
I mean, I'm happy he's getting paid, but my God, can't he just work in the back?
But we go straight to our first match. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog versus the Godwinns of Henry O. and Phineas I. Godwinn with Hillbilly Jim. And Hart takes the mic to praise his brother Brett for helping the family come together and reunite the previous week.
USA.
Before warning Shawn Michaels to not say anything bad about the Hitman.
Don't you talk about his brother.
So Henry starts it off with Owen using his power to deliver a press slam and a clothesline for a 2 count, followed by body slamming Phineas atop Hart. Pig takes control with a hip toss of Bulldog as we go to picture-in-picture to talk to the Heartbreak Kid. And Shawn says he will keep Owen's threats under advisement, but he doesn't respond well to authority. Now back to the action. Phineas is being double-teamed in a corner, only to fire back to knock the tag champs down to the floor to regroup. And back in the ring, the Godwinns continue to control until Hart blind tags himself in and nails a spinning heel kick to Pig. And the champs stomp and choke Phineas, but Owen telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Pig to counter into a backslide pin attempt, only for Davey Boy to distract the ref, so it's only for a 2 count. Enziguri by Hart for a near fall, followed by a double clothesline from the champs as we go to commercial. We come back to Phineas making a tag, but the ref doesn't see it. So he forces Henry back to his corner, allowing more double teaming, only for Hogg to just run past Hebner to attack Bulldog from behind momentarily. And the champs go for another double clothesline, but Pig ducks and delivers one of his own, before crawling to the corner for the hot tag. Henry cleans house with right hands, back elbows, body slams, a wheelbarrow suplex for a 2 count, followed by everyone jumping in the ring to brawl, while we go to picture-in-picture for an interview with the Legion of Doom, where they say they're going to beat up the foreigners to become champs. What a rush! Now, while they're talking, the Godwinns whip the champs into each other before Phineas dumps Owen out of the ring, and Hogg hits the slop drop on Davey Boy, making the cover, but the ref's busy getting Pig out of the ring, allowing Hart to leap off the top rope with a double axe handle to Henry, making the cover himself for the pin and the win.
Nothing. Yeah, I haven't seen a pin off of a double axe handle. I don't know, probably since an old episode with Macho in the WWF.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Also, let's go to the picture-in-picture interview during the hot tag.
I mean, it's proof that...
We're just telling stories here, guys.
Yeah. Godwinns are out. They're on their way out. They don't fit into this cool heavy metal intro we've just added to the show.
Post-match, LOD comes out and attacks the champs, while the Godwinns grab their buckets to slop them, only for Owen and Bulldog to move in time, causing the Road Warriors to be slopped instead.
Straight out of a college-age comedy. It's so silly and
It was
funny.
perfectly timed.
They really did nail it.
So the Legion of Doom beats down Henry and Phineas as we head to break.
Yeah. Sorry, fellas.
And we return to Honky Tonk Man having left the commentary booth, before seeing the tag champs watching the accidental slopping over and over and over and over.
They think it's very funny.
Just laughing away.
Best thing they've seen all year.
When Austin would walk by and shout obscenities at them.
I guess they haven't seen Anaconda yet.
Which leads us to our second match. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Billy Gunn with Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, he's getting into the managing game. Or at least trying.
That's what he said. He's been out here scouting people to be his next protege.
Yeah. Gotta find that next great superstar, that next potential intercontinental champion to ride the honky wave to fame and fortune.
Who is our current intercontinental champion?
Rocky Maivia.
Duh. I guess that's just because it was Goldust not too long ago. That was memorable.
Yeah. Prepare yourself. We're hitting late 90s where there's going to be a lot of hot potato going on. So.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen Billy since In Your House 11, episode 223. And Gunn goes after Stone Cold's legs multiple times, but finally gets caught for Austin to just start destroying him with right hands, back body drops and kicks that send Billy out to regroup. And we go to picture-in-picture again for an interview with Hart and Davey Boy, who seemed upset at Stone Cold interrupted their fun time, and says they may come poke their nose into his business. Now back to the action. Austin's in control with face slams, wrapping Gunn's arm around the ring post several times. Until Billy begins to fire up as JR tells us all about Sunday Night Heat, which was Pacific Blue, silk stockings, and the Big Easy, all on USA.
Yeah, I got a kick out of because when I heard him say Sunday Night Heat, I'm like, wait, we're already up to Sunday Night Heat? How the hell is that a thing? And then
I watched so many
actually listened and was like, oh, okay, so that was the TGIF of the USA Network, only on Sundays.
I feel like I watched Sunday Night Heat for
I also loved
O-Train, basically.
Silk Stockings got a special shout-out out there.
Oh, yeah, JR likes it.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like silk stockings?
I've never watched Silk Stockings.
It was some great stuff back in the day. It was
some good horny cable television.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Lots of pretty people getting murdered while having sex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't. So it was kind of like the cable television version of like a
SVU.
Okay, I was thinking of like what's it called? What were those? Like sexy thrillers from like the mid to late 90s.
Softcore porn.
Well, I'm thinking of like Basic Instincts and
Shannon Tweed.
Those type of movies.
Linda Fiorentino.
Yeah, I just said a porn star. I'm 42 years old.
Wait,
I know
which one?
She's married to a rock star. So.
Oh yeah, I think she's still married to Gene Simmons.
Dean, yeah. Wonder why she stays.
So Billy hits
He's got a lot of money
and a lot of talent.
So Billy hits a swinging neck breaker and does some stomping of his own, but Stone Cold turns it around to stomp a mud hole, flip him off, and nail a mule kick to the holsters. And the ref admonishes Austin, only for Stone Cold to flip him off as well, before heading up top, But Gunn meets him there to knock him down, crotching Austin in the process.
I predicted you were going to call him his little skulls.
Billy's whip is reversed, but he does get a big boot up, allowing him to fire out with the clothesline, only for Stone Cold to duck and deliver the stunner for the pin and the win. Post-match, Honky Tonk Man gets in the ring to tell Gunn he was always his first choice to be his protege. But Jesse James was just flapdoodle.
Flapdoodle
was
and
really
Honky
good.
offers to remake Billy over in his image. The Gunn just socks Honky in response.
I mean, he deserves it.
Yep.
Also, how are you going to pick Jesse James over Billy Gunn? Yeah, Jesse James can talk.
Jesse James can sing.
Yeah. He's
I guess so.
He's trying to make him like
Honky Tonk.
Man.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like Billy, obviously a bigger and better wrestler and twice as handsome at the very least.
Yeah, I saw a picture. They posted something on X the other day where it was Billy's debut match and Billy's most recent match, and
now he looks like
the dude. He's barely aged. I mean, yeah, he looks older, but
he looks bigger,
he looks
too.
better. Yeah, bigger and better at
He's
50 something than he was in 20 something.
He's definitely juicing.
Yeah.
But hey, man, whatever. You can do as much steroids as you want as long as you don't kill your family.
Exactly.
Doc Hendricks in the back trying to sell some merch with a pair of kids, and he has an Undertaker door banner. It's only $29.95 plus shipping and handling.
The door banner is kind of sick. It's one of those things where it's like, I wonder how many of those they sold. It's also one of those things like you'll think it's cool for only a year. It's
so
like
I was trying to figure out
if you go into somebody's house and they have that, you're like, I don't know, man. Put it on the back of your closet door.
trying to figure out if the eyes were just him with his eyes rolled up, or if that was just if they're empty and it's just the color of the background of whatever your wall is that you're hanging in front of.
They probably did a little bit of rudimentary Photoshop because it's hard to keep your eyes completely up.
And Doc lets one of the kids, Katie, send it back to Vince. It was kind of cute.
It was cute.
Nicely done, Katie.
Now all of a sudden, a military officer comes out on the stage, calling himself Commandant. Thank you. The commanding officer of the Truth Commission. And this is his debut.
I know, I'm so confused. Like, where are we going here? And then it gets weirder.
He lets everyone know that next week's Raw will come from South Africa.
Johannesburg.
Before going on a long, dry, fascist tirade, saying that the Truth Commission will teach Americans the true meaning of democracy. He continues by singing the praises of Bret Hart before showing a taped interview of the Hitman, where he says that American fans can't handle the truth, and that's why they don't like him anymore. Bret is then shown carrying the South African flag into the ring of a house show to reinforce the fact that he's pro-international and anti-American, while we also see the Heartbreak Kid looking on in picture as we go to break. And we come back to Shawn Michaels making his way to the ring to join McMahon for an interview, with Vince showing footage from 2 weeks ago when Hart would apply a figure 4 around a ring post on the Heartbreak Kid, before also attacking Rocky Maivia on the same show. And Shawn confirms that he and Hitman do not like each other. Shocker right now, right? Followed by that Bret has always been a bad guy because he drags his family out on TV so that he can make a buck. When we see Owen and Bulldog watching in the back. And Michaels continues that he supported Hart when he was champion in 1992. But the Hitman threw a fit when he was asked to return the favor and he went home, hoping the WWF would fall flat on its face, with even Vince confirming that they actually had their best year with Shawn as champion.
And also confirming that he runs the place.
Yeah.
I noticed that during this little segment and was like, I don't remember him ever saying that.
The Heartbreak Kid starts going off on Bret, who complained about every little detail of Shawn's gimmick, telling everyone that Hart tried to jump ship to WCW, but he only came back because of the money the WWF had offered.
I know, and he doesn't actually say WCW, but we all know what he means.
Michaels finishes up by saying he comes out every night to give the fans a show before telling the Hitman he's going to do a little dance and starts pulling clothes off right then. And as he does so, the tag champs make their way out to the ring, only for the Heartbreak Kid to grab a chair, which keeps them at bay until officials can pour out of the back to keep the peace as we go to commercial.
And there's our, this was where we got our little Simpsons reference. Sean said that called him Mr. Family Values Bret Hart, having America's most dysfunctional family. And he says that he hopes Bret understands The Simpsons is just a cartoon.
And I believe this is also around the time where he had said, he was talking about the obsession that Bret had with him and the WWF Championship. And he made the eerie prediction of your obsession with the championship is what will lead to your ultimate demise. And it was like, wow, if that isn't some foreshadowing, I don't know what is.
I mean, it's a really great promo, but I mean, it would have taken us 5 minutes to read it. So, you know. Yeah.
Definitely worth the watch, because this is when the two of them really
started digging in.
I'm going to probably say that this promo is the reason why this episode is rated so high and the reason it was added to our schedule.
I'm all for it.
So we come back and we get basically the intro again with Pyro.
Boom, 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 boom,
so like, I was like, are we in the war zone now? But it never said war zone at any point.
Yeah.
But the reason they used to do that, because I'm just going to say it now, basically they split it up into 2 1-hour segments so they could have different ratings for the 2 different hours, which means they could also charge differently for the ads instead of having one big show.
And this is where it...
and this is why Vince McMahon is one of the greatest television businessmen of all time.
Yep. This is also, you know, where they were crossing into the 9 o'clock hour or 10 o'clock Eastern hour, so they could do a little more risque. Yeah.
The commentators then talk about everything that has just happened in the first hour before we go to our third match.
And this, what a way to start. The 9 o'clock hour.
A little risque.
Freddie Joe Floyd and Barry Horowitz
There he is.
versus the Headbangers of Mosh and Thrasher.
One of the Headbangers has a pretty sick Obituary shirt on, which is pretty cool. Obituary has somehow gotten very popular with the kids these days for an early death metal band from like Florida.
Like these days currently, or
currently, if I go to a metal show, you will see like 18 to 20-year-old kids all rocking like Obituary merch. It's pretty wild.
Very retro.
Mm-hmm.
So you may have recognized Freddie Joe.
I did, but I couldn't figure out who he was.
Tracy Smothers, who we saw a few weeks ago in ECW. While we haven't seen Barry...
Let him keep his name, damn it. He's Tracy fucking Smothers.
We haven't seen Barry since Royal Rumble 96, episode 183. And Horowitz escapes a waistlock from Thrasher early on, grabbing a headlock. But the Headbangers make a tag for Mosh to fly in with a clothesline before hitting a rubber band slam and a leap over his partner's straddle on the ropes.
I'm surprised that somebody, Colt Cabana or CM Punk, never did anything with Barry Horowitz. Or maybe they did, like, on the indies at some point or whatever, because, you know, they're both pretty proud Jewish men.
We go to picture-in-picture to hear comments from Vernon White, who's an MMA fighter and trained in the Lion's Den. And he says, an exhibition is just another name for a fight. He's going to give us all, not holding anything back. So he'll have a match later on tonight.
In a exhibition match.
With old Ken Shamrock.
Mm-hmm.
We go back to the action where the Headbangers deliver a double flapjack, followed by a hot shot in a corner, until Mosh telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Barry to hit a jawbreaker, leap to his corner for the tag to bring in Floyd. And JR lets us know that Freddie Joe is from Bowlegs, Oklahoma, as he drop kicks Mosh.
Is Bowlegs a real place?
That's what I was just getting ready to ask. Okay.
I mean, I guess if JR said it, I shouldn't be questioning. The King of Oklahoma.
That's right, you should. Freddie Joe continues with a leaping sidekick to Thrasher and a leaping back elbow to Mosh for a 2 count. He then ducks a clothesline and goes for a Bulldog, but Mosh counters it into a side slam before bringing in Thrasher to deliver their combo powerbomb, flying leg drop for the pin and the win.
I mean, Headbangers have a pretty solid finish.
Yes.
That is
It's cool. It's cool.
Poor Tracy Smothers.
I mean, you know.
You were a somebody, and now you're a Freddie Joe Floyd. I don't get it.
It happens, especially to those...
I mean, he'll continue to be Tracy Smothers in ECW for a little while.
Yeah. But it happens a lot. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, Terry Gordy, it's like, well, he had a crazy brain injury. So they're just, like, kind of being nice and, like, getting him paid a little bit. But, like, he probably just shouldn't be out there. But Tracy Smothers, he still had it.
I mean, yeah, they could have... They missed the opportunity right there. They could have had the new Smoking Guns, put him together with Bart, let Billy go try his little singles life.
Not opposed to it.
It could have worked.
Bart's not a terrible wrestler.
They had the new Rockers.
Yeah.
Why not have the new Smoking Guns?
I guess because the Smoking Guns never meant much. The only thing the Smoking Guns really brought was Sunny.
And they didn't even bring her. They just picked her up.
Yeah. She was foisted upon them.
So we go to our 4th match. Vernon White versus Ken Shamrock in a no-holds-barred exhibition. And this is technically Shamrock's in-ring debut. And Vince actually plugs a UFC pay-per-view as they get started.
Yeah, I know.
Which I thought was hilarious because they've now merged with the company that owns UFC. So
Yep.
And can you imagine how much, like, in the early to mid 2000s, Vince McMahon just was motherfucking the UFC for fucking his business up.
The two men would trade kicks in a feeling out process until Ken ducks one and locks on a leg lock. Vernon escapes to grab one of his momentarily, only for Shamrock to get back to his feet to lay in some ground and pound. King grabs the leg once more, but they're in the ropes, so the ref calls for the break. White gets to his feet and lands a stiff kick across the chest of Shamrock.
Ooh, shouldn't have done that.
But Ken takes Vernon right down for more ground and pound, busted him open, and causing White to tap out for the win.
I mean, he busts him open good. It's just like a legit, like, splat.
Pop.
Post-match, Ross interviews Shamrock at ringside, with Ken saying the exhibition got a little out of hand. When Vader and Paul Bearer would make their way out and start yelling at Shamrock until officials would get between both competitors before anything could happen.
And Ken's not afraid of Vader, and why would you not want to see Vader versus Ken Shamrock after he just beat a guy in like a minute and a half, busting him open after getting a little too angry from a stiff shot?
Yeah.
It's a pretty great debut as far as like short and to the point, and this guy means business.
So I wish Ken would have been that exciting in the one match I watched in UFC from back in his day. The very first UFC show, I rented the tape.
UFC fights back then were boring.
They were boring as fuck.
Yeah.
He
There was
seriously laid
no-
on top of the dude for 20 minutes and just like occasionally would throw a punch to the
There was no
ribs.
structure to the matches back then.
Huh.
There's also like, I think, less rules, so it's probably a lot scarier, and you had to be a little bit more careful. Where it's like they're like, all right, we're gonna do these things, but guys aren't used to pulling punches, so they didn't, and it was a little bit more fun because of it.
So we go to our 5th match. Vader with Paul Bearer versus Frank Stalletto.
Excuse
Poor
me?
bastard.
Yeah, you heard me.
Yep.
Frank Stalletto.
The Mastodon just waylays Frank with stiff shots, short arm clothesline, before locking on an armbar momentarily. Vader hits a release German and more stiff shots in a corner.
A huge release German. Vader doesn't give a shit about this guy. He never even met him.
When we get picture-in-picture of Mankind saying he did a real bad thing, so he wants to make amends.
Uh-oh.
Foley will have a presentation later, hoping the Undertaker likes it, because he picked it out himself just for the dead man.
An eye patch.
Now back to the action. The Mastodon has nailed a pair of Vader bombs, followed by a power bomb for the pin and the win. Fun little squash.
Quick.
Basically, it's, Vader was like, well, if Shamrock can kill someone in a minute and a half, I'll do it just as quick, basically. We then go to the back. WF President Gorilla Monsoon. And he says that Sid is not at the arena yet to face Mankind, because he may have missed a flight, or maybe it was a car wreck. And I was literally like, those are two wildly different things.
Yeah, you're just assuming maybe he didn't get on the airplane because he got in a car wreck. It's like,
But the truth is Sid actually had a neck injury that would keep him out for the next couple of months. And this match was actually supposed to be for the number one contenders.
Yeah.
For the title.
It's one of those things where it's like, Sid is cooled off a bit, so it could be a good thing when he comes back, but I feel like it might be a whole new world when he shows up. So,
Something all too familiar that we were hoping to forget.
So Monsoon names Austin the new opponent, as he's the only comparable competition left on the card.
Like, he's the only other guy that is, I guess Goldust isn't here, so we need, or Hunter Hearst Helms is like, we need a guy that like is in the Intercontinental title range.
So the thing is that, yes, Raw is in South Africa the next week, but a lot of the crew
is already there.
Yeah. So like literally everyone
that's
we
where
saw,
Brett and Hunter and Goldust
that we see on TV is literally everyone that's there.
Yeah, it's like we need a star and in South Africa, Bret Hart, and then we need like two upper mid carders. There's your Triple H and Goldust. It's like we'll fill out the rest, but that's good enough for a house show.
Stone Cold comes in and correctly points out that he's already had a match tonight, and he has no interest in another.
That's right. He's not saving your damn show.
But then says he'll accept if Gorilla will give him Psycho Sid's match with Bret Hart at the next In Your House, with the president agreeing. Now Foley and Paul Bearer make their way out to the ring as we head to break, not knowing who his opponent will be. And JR's in the ring when we come back to interview Mankind about why he burned The Undertaker last week, with Foley responding that the dead man doesn't know who he is. Mankind continues that he is set on a plane, smelling his own charred flesh for 14 hours. And his children wake up to the sound of gunfire and people wanting him to die. Foley says he can't protect his 3-year-old daughter when he's on the road 300 days a year, finishing that women and children shouldn't watch the next pay-per-view because of what he's going to do to Taker, that it won't be for the faint of heart. Mankind then has Bearer unveil a present for The Undertaker, a matching mask, when all of a sudden the lights would begin to flicker in the arena. And a video is up on the Titantron with the dead man providing narration, vowing revenge on Paul and Foley as we go to commercial.
Mankind is breaking down the mystery a little bit of himself, talking about having a family and all of these things, and I'm like, oh, we are adding some doses of reality.
It's baby steps to that Mrs. Foley's baby boy interview.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, they've already got, I didn't realize that the Have a Nice Day shirt was already around in 97, because I see some in the crowd.
So we go to our 6th match, Mankind with Paul Bearer versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And so I guess Sid didn't show up.
Oh, man.
It takes a minute and then the glass breaks and people go a little wild.
Yeah, like how in the previous segment with Gorilla, he was saying that, there's still time, he could show up, and then they literally jumped the next second.
There was two commercial breaks and a promo.
True, and a promo.
That's
so,
true.
It's very possible.
So it was a good
20 minutes.
It was a good 12 minutes
okay.
that they gave him.
Make that car accident a little more believable.
Yeah. So the two men begin brawling around ringside and up the rampway, when Stone Cold would hit a snap suplex and ram Foley's head into a guardrail and the steel steps, only for Mankind to respond with a clothesline. Now we get more picture-in-picture with the tag champs, in which they are upset that the Hitman's pay-per-view match has been changed, while our competitors have made their way into the ring to continue to brawl, when Foley nails a leg drop on the apron, followed by running Austin into a guardrail and grabbing a chair, only for the ref to stop him in time, allowing Stone Cold to drop Mankind onto the railing.
At first, when Austin comes out, I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's going to end in a DQ and Sid comes out. But that was before you gave me the information about the neck. But that was my assumption. I was like, oh, that's totally what's going to happen. But I didn't realize Sid was actually hurt.
Same.
Foley slows the momentum by slamming Austin's head against the timekeeper's table before dragging him back into the ring, only for Stone Cold to just tackle Mankind to deliver some ground and pound. A back elbow by Austin for a 2 count, followed by a chin lock as we see Owen and the Bulldog watching on from in the crowd. And Stone Cold spots them and challenges them to come down as we head to commercial. But when we return, our competitors are back on the floor with Foley having a chair in hand. And the two fight over a suplex on the apron, when Mankind hotshots Austin, followed by us getting a replay of the chair shot during the break. Now back in the ring, Stone Cold escapes a chin lock with a jawbreaker, only to miss an elbow drop, allowing Foley to roll out and pull up the mats. Mankind then tosses Austin onto the concrete before delivering an elbow drop from the apron and trying for a pile driver on the rampway, only for Stone Cold to shove him off into a guardrail, which wasn't just like the guardrail's like right there. It was like off the ramp.
Yeah.
Like over a distance into a guardrail.
Yeah, because they have the ramp that has some edge, but it's not as high up as like the WCW catwalk. You've seen it before. You've all watched 97, 98, 99 Raws.
They make their way back into the ring, where Austin sets Foley on a turnbuckle as the tag champs begin to make their way closer to the action. And Mankind blocks a superplex by checking the fangs on the rattlesnake, leaping off with a double axe handle, only for Stone Cold to nail him on his way down. And Davey Boy and Hart jump the rail, but here comes the Legion of Doom down the ramp, chasing the champs around ringside as Austin is stomping a mud hole in Foley. Vader then runs past everyone and into the ring to attack Stone Cold, but he moves in time, causing the Mastodon to nail Mankind instead as the ref calls for the disqualification.
But they were buddies.
Post-match, Foley and Vader begin brawling as Austin and the Road Warriors give chase to Owen and Bulldog up the ramp. Paul Bearer enters the ring and gets in between his two charges, and the two men just end up hugging as Vince says his goodbyes, and we fade to black.
You love to see two bulbous men work out their differences with a hug.
I mean, I thought they were going to have a little more of a heated discussion or, a slap or something like that. But no, it's just like, all right, whatever. I got you.
Yeah, Vader's got to be pissed. Like, you're pushing this guy more than me? I'm fucking Vader. I beat Antonio Inoki in my first match in Japan.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Raw is War from April 7th, 1997?
It was good. It was good. It was fun. They are pushing Austin. It's 2 matches on the show. He's talking shit. He's getting cheered. Recently had that double turn, but he's not your average babyface. And of course, we get a different song. We get the Titantron. You can tell they're leaning into a new vibe. And who's mad about it? Sorry, Godwinns, but Mankind burning the Undertaker and people slyly talking about real life in their promos. It's just a little more entertaining.
Kind of those same lines. I enjoyed this show. it moved along quickly. The promos were fun. The matches that were featured were, for the most part, enjoyable. You know, you had your little I can do it better than you can between Shamrock and Vader. You had the opening match. I mean, Bulldog and Owen are always a good time.
And it leads to, it's like, it's the Godwinns. Kind of tired of the Godwinns, but what is it obviously leading up to? Them versus LOD.
Yep.
Who doesn't want to see that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a must-watch, but it's definitely an enjoyable watch if you do happen to catch it, because it just kind of flies right along. It's what old school Raws were meant to be, you know, where it gives you info for what's happening, it sets something up for the next episode, it's fast moving, you don't really know what the hell they're going for next because they're trying to shake things up and keep it fresh, and
you kind of want to see whatever it is that like could happen. And like, it's like they're setting up matches that you want to see. Austin and Bret, we want to see it again, because Austin has yet to beat Bret Hart. Mankind Undertaker, it's been a little while, we saw it a lot, but he burned the Undertaker's face. How are you gonna get, like, if people were like, oh, how many times are we gonna see this? Well, they're not thinking that once he flash bombs Undertaker's face. It's like, oh, well, probably gonna get a little bit more of an angry Taker, which is nice. And then LOD and Owen and Davey Boy, I mean, come on. LOD, the last match they had was, or the first match they've had here was a pay-per-view match that involved a lot of schmoz. You want to see, four guys that can go throw each other around. It's looking good for the next pay-per-view.
Yes.
So like I said, with most of the crew already in South Africa,
oh yeah, that too.
They did their best to fill 2 hours. I would have probably preferred them to go the route of the last Raw we watched, i.e. longer matches.
Oh yeah.
Instead, we got some
lot of
promo work,
but it was all good.
Which was good,
but long.
Got a couple squashes.
But the promos were probably so good, and the ratings for those promos were pretty good, that we can now kind of see the future of what Raw ends up becoming, where it's a lot more promos and a lot less wrestling.
Yeah.
So
it's like, that's why you gotta buy the pay-per-view so you can actually see the match.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least they have people that can talk.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, these guys can also wrestle, so we'd like to see some of that too.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments from this show?
I popped for Vernon White getting popped. I wasn't ready for some shoot blood.
The Legion of Doom getting slopped.
Yes.
Because it was just like that perfect timing of
everything.
everything.
They nailed it.
Yeah, Davey ducked that just right. I even had to watch one of the mini replays that they did just to see, were they already hunching down, or was it...
No, they just nailed it.
Yeah, it was perfectly smooth. They went to throw that bucket, and the 2 guys dropped just at the right time. And these hiccups just came out of nowhere.
Jaeger. Was Mankind's promo the best one? Was Sean's the best one? Were they tied
Sean's
for
is
first?
probably the best one because there was very much a shoot feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, we all know that Mankind can basically always talk. Yeah. Sean is good at it, but he's not Roddy Piper or Mick Foley.
No.
But also, there's nobody else like Mick Foley or Roddy Piper, so it's like, Yeah.
I believe I caught a glimpse of what might be the first crotch chop from Sean at the end of his promo when he was there. It was just you could see his hands moving as he was making a gesture as like, Davey Boy and Owen were outside, and
he's putting it together. His brain is getting there.
I saw the motions go, but it was from the side angle, so you couldn't really tell if he was pointing down because you couldn't really see the end of his hands. And
yeah. Because it's kind of like the opposite of like.
I'm almost certain though that was our first crotch chop.
He does the opposite of the like mob talk with your hands, where instead of him going up, They go, instead of going up and out, they go down and in. And he's like, well, what if I did this near my penis?
Definitely can't think of a catchphrase to go along with it.
Yeah. What can we say on TV?
I mean, we mentioned it during the match, but the Headbangers finisher.
It's great.
It's one of the best finishers that we have going right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a tag team finish is so important, and that's a really great one. You can only do so many things that are too similar to a Doomsday device.
Yeah.
This one is not.
How about most disappointing?
I don't know if there was anything that bummed me out.
Knowing that we were
Honky Tonk Man.
We all
I'm
knew,
over it.
We all knew we were going to get a disqualification in that last match.
Yeah, we just didn't know how we were going to get it. I was like, Sid will come out, and it's like, oh no, not Sid, but yeah, it makes sense.
That actually makes more sense.
It does.
Now, obviously, I knew that Sid was actually hurt, so I knew he wasn't going to come out. But the ending with Vader coming out, and then it feels like they keep wanting to set up Vader and Foley, but we know that that's not where their program are going, because everything says Vader and Shamrock and Foley and Undertaker, but then we have this Foley and Vader because we had it. Because remember we had it at WrestleMania as well.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe they're just covering their bases. They're like, hey, if we just let this happen every once in a while, then if we need to pull the trigger on that, or if that seems like the right thing to do, what if one of these guys gets hurt or whatever? It's like then it's open, which is smart. And who would be mad about seeing Vader and Mankind against each other?
No. Last I remember them together, Mankind lost an ear.
Someone lost an ear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't have anything negative to say about this, especially considering the. Is this the first time, or did they do this last week? The Titantron and the.
I believe the Titantron actually started the week before.
Okay, but the
week
new
before
music
was it was right after WrestleMania.
Yeah, the week before was the episode after.
So, but the intro.
Yeah,
the first one. Okay.
No, the intro started the week before.
Okay, cool.
It's just the first time for us.
For us, yes, but yeah, it's like you can tell that it's new. I just wasn't sure if it was the first time.
How about best performer of the night?
It's tough. I mean, Stone Cold worked twice.
Yeah.
He's getting more and more fired up, more comfortable. That fucking shit-eating grin, middle fingers. We've been talking about it coming together for so long, and it's just like we're like 90% there, maybe 85% there, but we're so close to all of the merch at every state fair in the country being glass picture frames of skulls that say 316 on them, and
damn Papa Balloon mirrors that you get.
Big tall jester hats that say Austin 316 on them and shit. He's about to take over not only cable television on Monday nights, but every state fair in the goddamn country. Because who goes to state fairs but wrestling fans?
I mean, if it's not Austin, then it's probably Owen and Bulldog. I mean, they're probably the only
double duty.
Yeah,
they're only other guys that really were featured.
Yeah, I can't give it to Sean, even though he had a great promo. I could give it to Mankind because he had a great promo and a good match. It ended in DQ, but I mean, Mick Foley in the ring doesn't disappoint.
No,
it's just not a thing that he does. It's his whole thing is that he refuses to do that and sacrifices himself for your entertainment. That is why he is one of the most beloved men to ever wrestle.
Yeah, I'd say if it's not Austin, it's Owen and Bulldog, just because they
are all over the show.
They had a good match. They were all over the show, and they perfectly ducked the slop.
There's a bit of a new dynamic with them because they kind of had a little bit of fighting and stuff, and now they're basically they all came together with Hart Foundation.
Brett coming out the week before, they're now the Hart Foundation.
Yeah. But they are
had a
perfect
heartfelt moment, and Owen was crying in the ring, talking to Brett, and so I remember that one.
They're leaning into comedy a bit, but not too much.
Yeah,
it's and you know that it's Owen is famous for being one of the funniest guys, outside of the ring, and he's just inching in a little bit of comedic timing, and it's working, especially with them as the top tag team underneath one of the biggest stars and longest company men this company's seen.
How about most surprising? I mean, it's the new promo and Titantron and all that stuff for me.
I mean, I guess I don't remember the because I hadn't started watching yet, but the Flash paper. It's like, damn, that's some fucking 80s shit. We haven't seen that in a long time. Since Jim Crockett, or no, not Jim Crockett, since Jim Cornette burned up, not Garvin. But I don't even know if we actually watched that. We may have.
Yeah, because the last real fire play that I can remember was either with Hogan and the exploding flash bulb, or the one where the Sheik threw a fireball or something like that and hit somebody
for no reason at all.
Yeah,
wasn't it a New Japan match or something?
I cannot even remember. But
it might have could have been a Tiger Jeet Singh thing.
Yeah, maybe.
But either way, that's not a WWF thing. Is flash paper, at least in my mind when I think about the WWF. I don't know much about the WWF, but this is some territory shit, and it was kind of nice.
They'd have a cartoon character wrestler, but they wouldn't let you do the cartoon character stuff like a flash paper.
Yeah,
explosion.
About JYD getting...
Spoiler alert. Yeah. As we'll see possibly in a couple of weeks, if it doesn't go right, it looks really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's even here, what was it? Mid-South, big angle for, I can't remember who was it, burned up JYD. Or right when he just had a kid or whatever, and then it was selling out the Superdome and shit. It's he can't see, his new baby daughter. He might not be able to see again. Blah blah blah. And that's the shit I want to. That's the shit I like.
Most surprising for me would probably be that it was as enjoyable of a show as it was
with 8 wrestlers,
as few people as they had. Yeah,
it's six wrestlers and Vernon White
and.
Don't forget Frank Stalletto.
Yeah, Stalletto.
Oh, yeah. That's how thin it was.
It took me a second. I want to say Frank Stallone.
Yeah. I mean, I
literally wrote Frank Stallone at the beginning, and then I was like, no, that's not his name. Yeah. And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The Dusty Finish.
Shane Douglas had been ECW Heavyweight Champion for 3 weeks when he would face a debuting Maniac at the NWA Bloodfest in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on October 2nd, 1993. Sabu, born 1964, trained under his uncle the Sheik, making his debut in 1984, wrestling in the majority of U.S. territories before making his way to Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling in Japan, where the promotion is well known for its hardcore barbed wire matches, which would lead the Sabu to be covered in scars on his arms and torso. Now, during the match, Douglas would be distracted by Paul E. dangerously, allowing Sabu to hit a belly-to-belly suplex, followed by a moonsault, to become champion for the first time. For his accomplishments, Sabu is a hardcore Hall of Famer, and the Homicidal One would defend the championship over the next few months, when a former NWA World Champion would make a challenge at the end of the year.
NWA Bloodfest. Hell yeah, dude. It's a good-ass name for a show.
I think that's one of those ones that I couldn't ever find.
Yeah.
Couldn't ever find a tape for. So
it was probably Dennis Corluzzo show inside of a...
I'm sure it was.
Inside of a high school gym. But the name of it sounds cool. Bloodfest. It's yeah.
Next week, speaking of Philadelphia, barely legal 1997.
I mean, first time in a while I've been excited for an ECW show.
Yes.
Because we all know it's kind of a grab bag. But this is their first pay-per-view, so I just want to see what they're going to do. Are they going to do it right? Are they going to do it wrong? Are they going to do everything all at once, all the time, like they typically do?
Will we have pay-per-view quality cameras? instead of just little camcorder footage passed around.
I think those shows look fine.
I mean, I've given you guys 2 months off from ECW. So.
Oh no, yeah, I'm not complaining. This is the one we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Sabu and Taz, guys. How long have they been fucking talking about this? A full year?
A full year,
Yeah.
Like since Taz first started talking.
They've been building up Taz for a year, and he was the most booed man, and now he might be one of the more over guys. Not even might. He is one of the more over guys.
He's still booed, though.
He's still booed, but he gets more cheers than Sabu does at this point.
Very true.
Music from this week's show is "We're All Together Now" by Slam Jam. That's the new Raw music.
Oh,
Okay.
We're all together now.
Yeah. And Austin won our main event, so we play Hell Frozen Over, version 2
Is that the first time
by
we played?
Jim Johnston.
Is that the first time we played Austin music in the show?
Remember.
Might be.
I kind of want to just learn that riff and use it as like the intro for my band when we play shows. I'm sure that I could get them to do it. I saw like this last summer. I went to Texas for a show, and like there was a local band playing, and they did a cover of Triple H's theme song.
Nice.
And it was fucking sick. Everybody was pumped. Yeah, they just threw it in the set list, and I was like, that's pretty neat.
That's how it was my buddy's wedding, 2014. The groom, best man, groomsman, and myself. That was our entrance theme. Was the Evolution theme song.
Yeah, I want to either see if I can get him to do the
Does
Austin.
look like that is the first time we've ever played Austin's theme music.
Yeah.
I always want to do either that one or the Vince McMahon, like just the riff.
No Chance in Hell.
Yeah, the No Chance in Hell riff. That one or the other one would be a real fun way to pick a song you can blend it into that you already wrote.
If you like this episode or any of our others, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. Don't waste your time. We try not to waste yours.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
Which was your favorite, Anaconda or Grosse Point Blank? Yeah, hit us up on the socials. You know, slide into our.
Give us a
Slide into our
happy new
DMs.
year. Tell us happy new year.
Yeah. Yeah, just give us a shout out. We want to talk to you. We talk to each other and talk to you, but it would be nice to have you respond to us and tell us what's going on in your world.
you can do those things on email at WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO.
It's
We'll talk to you next week.
Laters.